Town Center is a city building game with a couple of unique twists. You get to build your cities in 3D, and your city grows and develops on its own, driven by supply and demand. So let's show how that works. Now, here I am halfway through a typical two-player game, and I've got my city over here. Now, it's got a nice parking lot, these two black cubes that earns me some decent money every turn. I've got 3 apartment buildings scattered all about. I've got a couple of blue shops. I've got this power station over here that powers my nice tall elevator, and that elevator means I get to build up to 3 stories. The taller my elevator, the higher I can build. And then at the heart of this whole little town, I've got my office building. And now, every turn, players are going to draw from this cloth sack and draw some cards out. And then there's a cube drafting phase where players get to find out what cubes they'll add to your city. And rather than go through all that, let's just say this particular turn, I got the red cube and the blue cube, and my opponent over here got the green cube and the black cube. So I'll stay over there. But now let's come back to me. So I've now got these 2 cubes I've got to add to my city. And there's a couple of rules I have to follow. One, no blue cube, no blue shop can be built next to an existing blue shop. And by the same token, no green apartment can be built next to an existing apartment. So that means I cannot place this blue shop here or over here, or I can't even put it on top like this, because that would be considered adjacent as well. So instead, I'm going to build this blue shop on top of my red office building right there. Because again, I can go vertically because I've got a powered elevator. Now, I've got this red office that I've got to build. And I'm going to put it over here. And now that cost me $5. Let's see, come over here, I'm at 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brings me down to $8. Now the reason that costs $5 is because offices are the most powerful cube in the game, because they drive the supply and the demand chain. Now what that means is, if I've ever got enough offices in my cities, the apartments will expand, because the workers in those offices need places to live. And by the same token, if I've got enough apartments, my shops will expand, because the people living in those apartments need someplace to shop. So now here's how that chain works. Remember, I just put this red cube, or this red office, next to these 2 apartments. And what that means is, these 2 apartments are now surrounded, each one of them, by 2 different offices. The one I added and the original one. And so, since the apartment is only 1 cube big, but it's got 2 offices next to it, the apartment has to grow to meet the demand of these offices. So each of these apartments is going to grow by 1 green cube. So I will take, say, this apartment over here will grow vertically. So this apartment got to the top. Now it could have expanded out here, but then it would be going into the suburbs. And I don't want to do that if I can avoid it, because at the end of the game, you lose points whenever you build in the suburbs. So this green apartment expanded vertically because of the offices. This other apartment, which is also next to 2 offices, it could go vertically as well, but I'm going to have it expand horizontally over in this direction. And now watch what happens. Remember how offices make apartments grow? Well, apartments make shops grow. And this little shop right here, which is only 1 cube, is surrounded by 2 completely separate apartments. So now this shop has to grow to meet the demands of all these people living in these apartments. And it's going to grow vertically because it can't. It can't go sideways, it's blocked in, so it has to grow upwards. And fortunately it could, because I had this nice tall elevator that lets me build upwards. And so now this shop has effectively become a super shop, because if I move this out of the way, you can see it's 1, 2, 3 blocks big. 3 blocks in total adjacent, even though it kind of goes in this crooked way, and 2 vertical makes it a very powerful money-making shop for me. And that's just a quick example of how this one office caused my apartments to expand, which in turn caused my shops to expand. And by placing 2 cubes, I actually got to add 1, 2, 3 additional cubes to my city. So I actually got 5 cubes out this turn, which is awesome. Now, after all the building is done, I placed my 2 cubes, and after the automatic development, which is what you just saw, as everything expanded on its own, now I get to make some money. Now I always get $1 every turn, just automatically. Every player always gets $1, just because they're the mayor and they're running the city. But on top of that, I can make money for my parking lots based on the number of buildings next to. So my parking lots here are next to 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. So I make 1, 2, 3, $4. So I've just made back all the money I spent by building that apartment. And now on top of that, in addition to parking lots, I can also make money off my shops. And I've got this really nice super shop here and this one over there, so I should make a lot of money off the two of them. However, neither of my shops are powered. And that's what these yellow cubes are. Without power, my shops can't make any money. And so I'm really wanting to get some more power into my city so I can power these shops. Now, I could wait till next turn and hopefully I'll get a yellow cube in the cube draft. But my opponents might see that I want a yellow cube and keep me from getting it because it's a draft. So if I want, right now at the end of my turn, I have the option to pay manually and build a yellow cube. And I think I'm going to do that. However, it's going to be very expensive. The cost is basically $5 for every cube I've already got. I've already got this one, so it's 5 for that, plus 5 for the new one. So I have to pay $10 total to build this new power station. But I will, so that means that basically I've just dropped down from 13 to $3. And I will build my power station right here on the roof of my super shop. And now it's a powered super shop. Next turn, this shop is going to earn me $7 every turn for the remainder of the game. And that's huge. And now, so that's just a really quick, simple example of how cities can grow and expand. Every turn, you get a couple cubes, you solve the puzzle of where to put them so that your city can build organically on its own, and then you rake in the cash. Now, at the end of the game, you get points exponentially based on the size of all your apartment buildings. So you want your apartment buildings to grow and merge and become super apartments, because that can earn you a lot of points. Also, you earn points for all the money you've made. So if you have a bunch of super shops, you could be making tons of money. I mean, it's not uncommon to get up into the 80s and 90s, and that turns into huge points as well. So basically, there's two perfectly valid paths to victory every time you play, and to win, you've got to be really, really smart about how you mix those 2 point generating revenues while always trying to avoid building out in the suburbs unless you absolutely have to. And paying attention to the cube draft so you get what you need and you don't let your opponents get what they need. And now that is basically Town Center in a nutshell. And pretty soon it's going to be professionally published with a standard and a deluxe version that's going to make an even great game even better. So, hope you've enjoyed this little walkthrough, and thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.